Hello, I'm Sally Bundock. So let's bring you the very latest on the breaking news from Washington, where two people who work for the Israeli embassy have been shot dead whilst they were attending an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. The shooting occurred just after 9 p.m. local time last night. The suspect, named by police as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, is in custody. Washington's police chief said the suspect approached the victims with a handgun, shouting, "Free, free Palestine." The Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, described the attack as a depraved act of anti-Semitic terrorism. Now, in a statement on Truth Social, President Donald Trump has said this: "These horrible DC killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen. God bless you all." Speaking at a news conference earlier, Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, says there is no active threat to the public.
I want to start by sending our condolences to the loved ones of the victims who were senselessly a victim of these crimes. I want to provide my prayers and condolences to the museum staff and the guests who are also gathering together in fellowship. The chief will share preliminary information from the investigation. I will say up front that there is no active threat in our community. What I do know is that the horrific incident is going to frighten a lot of people in our city and in our country. And I want to be clear that we will not tolerate this violence or hate in our city. We will not tolerate any acts of terrorism, and we're going to stand together as a community in the coming days and weeks to send a clear message that we will not tolerate anti-Semitism.
Well, let's bring in our North America correspondent, Jake Kwan, who is in Washington. Jake, tell us more about what happened.
So what we're learning is that there was a reception event at this Capitol Jewish Museum. This museum is located just across the street from FBI field office here. It's within a mile of the Capitol. On the other side is the White House. So it is actually quite at the center of the D.C. And there was this event for young Israeli or Jewish diplomats. The event was billed as something to bring unity to the Jewish community. It was a place for young people who are kind of starting out in their career as diplomats to come together, enjoy cocktails, talk with each other and network, and have a special guest speak to them. It was one being organized by a Jewish advocacy group here. And then it was supposed to run from 6:30 until 9 p.m. So right after the event had ended, 4 people from this event were leaving together. And before these people were leaving, a witness have seen this man, a 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, pacing around in front of the building. And then as this group was leaving, Rodriguez approached the group and opened fire from his firearm, the handgun. And 2 people were immediately gunned down, and other people were injured. Now, the suspect had entered the building and was immediately taken into custody by the building security. He was put in handcuffs, and the police and the other people, the medical team, they all arrived to find the 2 people, a man and a woman, gunned down, already not breathing. And they administered medical treatment, but they had died, unfortunately. And what we're learning about the victim from the Israeli ambassador to the United States is that they were a couple who were going to be engaged. And he was saying that these 2 people were members of the Israeli embassy here, so they were 2 diplomats. Now, what we know about the suspect isn't a lot. It's just that he's an American from Chicago, and that when he was being taken into custody, he was yelling, "Free, free Palestine." Now, the FBI said that they are investigating this killing as one of targeted killing, and that this is a possible hate crime as well as terrorism. and they're looking into anti-Semitic motives. Now, this motive will, of course, be one of the central questions of why this killing had occurred, whether this was planned or not, considering that this event, although it was advertised, the location of the event was not advertised. It was only available to those already registered and attending. And the fact that the man knew where to go and at what time seems to suggest that possibly it was pre-planned. Now, the suspect is alive, and I'm sure the rest of the investigation will be focusing on that as well. There has been an outpouring of support by the administration. We already saw the Justice Department, the Secretary Pam Bondi, who was at the site. She was writing on social media how she's already there with the DC's attorney to investigate the matter. We also heard from the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirsty Noem, who was saying that this is a depraved act, that she will pursue this to uncover the investigation, as well as we heard from President Trump, who wrote on social media that hatred and radicalism have no place in the United States, and that he stands firmly that such anti-Semitic killing has no place. And he said this is, from his view, that this is obviously an anti-Semitic killing. And we also heard from the Israeli ambassador that he got a call from President Trump saying that his administration will do all it can to end anti-Semitism, as well as these kind of attacks against Jewish and Israel, and that will be his mission.
Okay, Jake, thank you so much for bringing us right up to date on the details that we do know about this incident. Here are now two eyewitnesses who spoke to BBC News in Washington, D.C. just a short while ago.
Around 9:07, we heard gunshots, and then a guy came in looking really distressed, and we thought that he just needed help.
We thought he was experiencing violence or something
and
outside.
He just needed safe shelter, so he comes in, and
so people were calming him down, bringing him water, taking care of him. Little did we know he was somebody that executed people in cold blood. He was the shooter? He was the shooter,
yeah.
Once the police originally showed up, he's like, I did this, I'm unarmed. He pulls out a red keffiyeh and he's like, I did this for Gaza, free Palestine. There's only one solution, Intifada revolution. And he just kept yelling, free Palestine. And I'm like, dude, this event was about humanitarian aid. How can we actually help both the people in Gaza and the people in Israel? How can we bring together Muslims and Jews and Christians to work together to actually help the innocent people? And then here he is just murdering two people in cold blood.
So those are two eyewitnesses there just expressing their dismay following these events. And also they were reiterating there the purpose of the event that was happening at the Capital Jewish Museum. It was actually an event that was focused on helping Gazans. Earlier, the Israeli ambassador to the US, Yechiel Letter, gave this statement.
The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center. I will say this: we are a resilient people. The people of Israel are resilient people, and the people of the United States of America are resilient people. Together we won't be afraid, together we'll stand, and we're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder. On the way in, Ms. Bondi was kind enough to hand me the phone. On the other line was the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who told me that his administration is going to do everything it can possibly do to fight and end anti-Semitism and the hatred that's being directed, the demonization and delegitimization of the State of Israel. Together with President Trump, our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, will stand together tall and firm, and we will confront this moral depravity without fear and with determination. And now we'll turn to taking care of the families of these two victims. And again, I think the American administration, the city of Washington, and the law enforcement officers who are on this case are going to get to the bottom of it and bring justice to this city and to the people of Washington and the United States and the people of Israel who are here feeling confident and safe in the city of Washington and around the United States of America. Thank you.
That's the Israeli ambassador to the US speaking just about an hour ago. Professor Stephen Zunis is coordinator of Middle Eastern Studies at the University of San Francisco, and I asked for his reaction to these events.
It's certainly terrible. I mean, the idea of diplomatic immunity goes back centuries, of course, and diplomats should be able to do their business and attend events in various capitals without fear of attack. And obviously, there are a lot of feelings up around the policies that Israel has pursued, and including some pretty horrific war crimes. But that does not mean that people who work for that government should be susceptible to this kind of terrorism.
The young couple both worked for the embassy, and the head of the Metropolitan Police there in Washington, D.C., said that the suspect who's being questioned at the moment was not on their radar prior to this. He was saying free Palestine at the time of arrest. I mean, we can draw conclusions, can't we, about what this is about?
Certainly, it would certainly appear that way. They're really the emotions have been running high here in the United States as they have around the world. I mean, just seeing the horror that's been unfolding for the past year and a half, and particularly here in the United States, and given that the United States has been the a major international backer of Israel's war, often in a very small minority within the international community in that regard. And there's great frustration because there's a huge gap in between public opinion and the policies of the U.S. government when it comes to Israel and Palestine. And in that environment, I guess it's not too surprising that there would be some extremists who would come out of the woodwork and would be willing to make some kind of a horrific crime like this. And it's really, but not only, of course, is it a moral and legal travesty, but obviously this is going to set back the pro-Palestinian cause in the United States, because there are many good people out there who are not anti-Semites, who are not even anti-Zionists, who just really are horrified at what's been going on in Gaza and the West Bank and elsewhere. They'd like to see a more balanced, policy. But this kind of extremist violence is only going to give the Trump administration and its allies the excuse to crack down on even legitimate dissent.
And of course, now there will be questions about security and what's required to protect this community across the US, I would imagine.
Yeah, we need to, needs to examine again the motivation. If people are being targeted because they were working for the government of Israel, or whether they were targeted because they were Jewish. Obviously, there have been some anti-Semitic attacks in the past. The horrific massacre at that Pittsburgh synagogue several years ago. That was motivated not out of concern of Palestine, but the more traditional far-right anti-Jewish conspiracy realm. So certainly any minority group that is under threat of attack and does need the attention of law enforcement to make sure they can live their lives without fear.
Professor Stephen Zunis there giving us reaction to the killings that's taken place in Washington, D.C.